Powerlifting and bodybuilding both have tremendous benefits for muscle building, but how do you cycle those in to a workout? Do you do them all during the week, or should you phase your workouts? Watch this.
Our next caller is Colton from Utah.
Colton, what's happening? How can we help you?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, man.
Good.
So I have two questions. My first question is, I'm trying to find a balance between like a bodybuilding and a powerlifting workout. I tend to find myself leaning naturally more towards like some of the powerlifting type stuff, the heavy compound lifts, but I want to also get the benefit of building muscle, like in a bodybuilding type workout. So is there a way that you can incorporate both of those into the same training session, or would it be more efficient to like cycle in a powerlifting phase and then a bodybuilding phase?
Yeah, it's a common question. Well, first off, I want to correct what you said. They both build muscle. Okay, yeah. So whether you're trained in 3
and they
to
both
5
build a lot of muscle too, by the way.
Yeah, so there's a myth that, one builds, more than the other. I mean, if you cycle them properly, you're going to get better results than if you just stick to one all the time. So this is a question we get often. Now, in terms of like results in the studies, when people are monitored and told what to do, it doesn't matter if you do, a heavy workout on Monday, a lighter, higher rep workout on Wednesday, and so on. But in our experience, it's better to do a cycle of a specific type of training for a few weeks and then move into another cycle of a specific type of training, mainly because there's a different mindset with the training. And you know this, right? When you do 3 reps
Sure.
of a squat versus, 12 reps of a squat, it's a different focus, right? On one of them, it's all about the movement, it's keeping tight. You hold your breath when you do your lift. The other one, it's like smooth, focus on the muscles, the contraction, the stretch, the squeeze, the pump. And that's a hard mindset to get in and out of, okay? It's hard for me to do. It's hard for me to do, and I've been training for a long time. So I prefer being in the mindset of I'm trying to train for strength for the next 3 weeks, and then I'm trying to train in more of a hypertrophy, style for the next 3 to 4 weeks. What ends up happening is I pick too much weight for my bodybuilding style workouts, or I end up focusing too much on the squeeze and the pump or the lack of the pump when I'm doing the powerlifting workouts. But if I'm in that mindset, then that's where I'm at, and it's all good. So it's more of a psychological thing than anything.
It's a lot easier to acknowledge the intent going in and to be able to refine and fine-tune what you're doing in terms of your overall technique, especially if you can place that kind of emphasis on technique, especially while you're powerlifting, because it requires so much dedicated focus. I would highly suggest kind of staying in that for a bit. Plus, it's more measurable. So that's the thing, is when you start like combining different methods, it's really hard to kind of tease out what really is working the best and what isn't. So just in terms of those 2 points, I would try to cycle them both at different times.
The main point I would have brought up is what Justin just said. I think that that's the most important thing, is that I was notorious for this. Like I trained like all the modalities in one. It was like my philosophy was, as a trainer, I've never repeated the same workout. Every workout was unique and different, because to Sal's point, that's what the studies show. Like the studies show that if we're continuously moving and changing rep ranges and exercises and modalities, like the body's going to keep adapting and responding, and it's just as good as somebody who's like cycling and phasing. But here's the drawback of that, is it's really hard, to Justin's point, to measure, well, what's really working for my body? Like, when I train these exercises in this manner, wow, I really notice X, Y, and Z. Like, and you can see that because you're sticking to something very consistently for 3 to 4 weeks, and you're not sprinkling in other things. Otherwise, you look back after 2 months of kind of sprinkling a little bit of everything, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, I definitely put on some good size. Oh, what was that from? Was that from my powerlifting training that I was doing, or was that more from the bodybuilding stuff I was doing? Like, and so it's harder to tease out what is your body really responding to. And so we tend to lean and push people more. And by the way, I think it's Mike O'Hearn who's
the power building.
Yeah, who's coined the power building program, where he combines powerlifting with bodybuilding, and really that's a marketing tool to appeal to someone just like you, who goes like, oh, I like powerlifting and I want to look like a bodybuilder. Like, this is the perfect program for me. Like, okay, sure. But it really is, in our opinion, better and more beneficial for you to focus on a phase, a way of training, run a program like PowerLift for a while, then run a program like Split, like we have. In fact, do you have any of our programs?
I actually don't know.
Okay. So, I mean, are you more into the powerlifting or the bodybuilding? Which one do you enjoy the most right now?
Myself, I enjoy the powerlifting more. And I think that's just because, like you guys said, it's measurable and you can see the increase. You can see the results a lot faster.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have Doug send you over PowerLift, and then I would follow that up with MAP Split. I think those, in combination of running one and then running the next program, you'll get the benefits that you're looking for.
Yeah. And one more thing I'd like to add here is that I think that I don't want to discount the self-awareness and knowing your body or learning your body as you go through this journey of exercise. And I think you learn better and faster when you can stay in a focused modality for a few weeks versus mixing it all up. You also can experience one of my favorite things, and like I said, if you looked at this over the course of a year, I don't think the results necessarily would be better. However, there's something to be said about the psychological benefit of going for 3-4 weeks in a modality, then switching and seeing like these really rapid changes in that first week or two. Like when I switch from, 12 to 15 reps to 3 to 5 reps, in that first 2 to 3 weeks, it's like, boom, I see great, but then it slows down and then I switch to something else versus kind of this real slow, consistent I like that. Like I like the way that feels. I also like knowing how my body feels and how it feels different when I train differently. And I can notice signs and signals in my body. For example, when I powerlift for too long, I feel it in my joints. When I bodybuild for too long, I just feel burnt out. And it's a different feeling. Both of them are different feelings. So it would be hard for me to pinpoint what's going on if I did it all at the same time. So you'll see when you look at our programs how they're phased. We don't mix everything up at once. We tend to phase them that way. So you get in powerlift, and then after that, I think Split would be a good follow-up for you, for sure.
No, that's awesome. I'm excited to try those.
You got it.
My second question, I kind of went down the intermittent fasting rabbit hole pretty far. I did it pretty religiously for about 2 years, lost a bunch of weight. It was great. And now that I have started lifting more, I'm about 12 weeks into lifting pretty consistently now. I've been trying to incorporate some more meals, some more calories, kind of break out of that intermittent fasting cycle. But it's been a really, really big challenge for me mentally. And it's hard because I really liked the way that I felt when I was intermittent fasting. It seemed like my body really agreed with that. So do you think there's any room for intermittent fasting in like a muscle building, powerlifting space?
I mean, there is. It's going to
be counterproductive.
It's just going to be harder. If you're trying to eat, I don't know how many calories you're trying to eat here, but if you're trying to eat, 3,500 calories and your eating window is noon to 6, okay, you're going to be stuffing yourself. It's not going to feel very good. So I don't think it's a great way to do it.
I would use it as an interrupter, right? So I wouldn't use it as like what you're referring to, like every day having this eating window and trying to do it. Like, good luck with that. I think then that is kind of counterproductive. But if you're like consistently eating 4 to 6 meals a day all day long, and you've been doing that for a week or two, and you're like, hey, you know what? This weekend I'm going to intermittent fast. Because I just feel like I'm feeling a little lethargic, or maybe I overdid it on Friday night or whatever like that. So hey, tomorrow I'm going to intermittent fast. Like, that's how I would do it. I would interrupt my kind of normal eating routine with an intermittent fast based off of how I felt. Because you've already said I feel good on it. It agrees with my body. So when you notice that you've been pushing the food quite a bit and you want to take a break from that, I think that's a great tool. But using intermittent fasting as on a daily basis while also trying to gain strength and size, that's tough. That's really tough, and that is kind of counterproductive.
What are your benefits that you notice from fasting that you like so much?
My mental clarity is 150% better, I would say. My digestive system really agrees with it. Less bloated, more consistent energy, just in general, I feel a lot better when I intermittent fast.
Try this. Try eating a lower carb bulking diet and then put your carbs around your workout.
Yeah.
So this is like a cyclic, kind of targeted carbohydrate type of diet. So maybe your carbs are 150 for the day or 100 for the day, which is kind of low for a bulk, especially, I don't know how big you are, but, if you're, over 180 pounds, it's real low. I would go carbs before and after my workout, and then the rest of the day, it's keto.
That was, I was going to interject that. That was the biggest thing I found was like it's carbs, calories, like how I was going to manage that because I was skipping a lot of breakfast and also, a heavy meal at the end. I would skip that too. I had the bulk of what I would eat was like, during that window. And that took a long time for me to kind of bust through in terms of like, I didn't feel that same kind of strength and energy in my workouts and didn't realize it until I actually started to put work in. And I had to start with like a lot lower calorie intake for breakfast because my body just didn't want to include that. And so it just took some effort, but definitely like the timing of it did play quite a bit of a factor where I would add a bit more carbs right before the workout. And then after. So, that's something to play around with.
Yeah.
Would you say there's like a certain range of carbs that I need to be in before a workout or kind of just whatever I feel the best on?
It depends. I guess that's the right answer, but I would start with start with this, right? If you feel really good on low carb, I would go 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates about an hour or two before your workout. And then after your workout, your post-workout meal would have about 50 grams of carbohydrates. So there you go, 100, 120 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
And that's it for the day. So it's still low carb. And you might even, depending on how much activity you do and how hard you work out, you still might even be able to get into ketosis with that. I know I can get into ketosis with about 100 grams of carbohydrates if I'm working out, really hard. But look, I'm like you, I feel way better eating that way. So, if I want to maximize my performance and mental acuity, that's how I do it. I eat my carbs around my workout.
That's perfect. Well, I'm going to try that and see how that works for me.
You got
awesome.
it. So, yeah. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Right.
You got it. It's great about, following, I guess, kind of doing like a fitness journey and learning about yourself or whatever. You can kind of start to figure this out. And then, as I've said many times on the show, you can use your diet and your workout in ways to improve your life. So like when I know I'm going to go, like sometimes I'll go down to LA and I'll do these big podcasts, right? And I'll try to represent the team and I want to be sharp. I don't care about, how much I could squat or deadlift or if I have extra 3 pounds of muscle. I want to be sharp on the show. So what do? I make sure I go into ketosis because I just feel my sharpest doing that. And I'll utilize fasting and I'll eat no carbohydrates. Now, if I want to hit a new PR on my lift, or I know we're going to do a crazy workout, or maybe I'm going to be filmed working out, which rarely ever happens, but let's say I am, well, then I'll introduce some carbohydrates into my diet. And you can do this. You can do this and mess around with it to maximize the quality of your life.
You not only can do this, you should learn to do this. This instead of becoming a zealot about a single
one way, right?
Yeah, one way of eating because you've now attached, keto is for me. Well, okay, for you, for what reasons? Oh, you like the mental sharpness. Oh, you like how there's you're less bloated. Okay, well, those are all positive things. But what about when you decide you want to go after a squat PR? Do you think keto is going to be the best thing for you? I'll tell you it's not going to be. No. Or what if all of a sudden you decide you want to sign up for a Spartan race with your friends? Do you think training for that on keto is going to be ideal for you? Probably not. So learning about your body and how it responds to all the different ways of eating, and then learning how to ebb and flow in that, and for what reasons that you change the diet. I just think that everybody, this is later in my career, this is how I used to train all clients. Is that when
you're teaching them lifestyle stuff. That's great.
At one point when they would hire me, I would take them through all the diets, everything. I would take them through all the popular, right? Whether it be a ketogenic or a intermittent fasting type of deal or a vegan diet, and I'd explain to them as we are I'm inquiring, how do you feel? What do you notice? Okay, cool. You notice that you feel this way in these times in your life. This is a great opportunity to shift to eating like this.
I'm not getting good sleep.
Right.
I have a protocol for that. I'm, feeling some kind of indigestion constantly. I got a protocol for that. I want more performance in the gym, so you just start to figure out what foods pair best to that or what calorie amounts or what timing with the whole thing. And that's very important.
Yeah. And it's all fun. It's all super fun. One thing I did notice on keto, which is really, obviously the mental acuity or whatever, and it's probably a 5-10% improvement. So it's not huge, but it's enough to where I can tell. Here's the other weird stuff. I noticed my skin becomes resilient to sunburns. Very strange. So if I'm on keto and I go out in the sun, I don't sunburn as easily. I don't get sore as much in my workouts. Yeah, those are the two big things that I noticed, which are really, really strange on a diet like that. So if I'm going to go out and be on the sun a lot, then I tend to do, keto diet.